un servidor. Hoy vamos a estar hablando de un tema que ojalá podamos abarcar en él y porque sabemos que esto es una ciudad, vivimos en una ciudad donde a través de los años, en la época dorada de los 50, en el jazz, en la música latina, en el rock, etcétera, siempre ha sido hay personas que le decían la capital del mundo en aquellos tiempos, y ha sido una ciudad que ha sido siempre el estandarte de la música, especialmente la música popular en el mundo. Así que hoy queremos verla de una perspectiva milenial, una perspectiva 2021, y exaltar la pregunta, ¿verdad? Esto es una pregunta que no pretende ofender a nadie, sino que es simplemente una pregunta, y las preguntas son siempre importantes para poder abarcar en conversación. Pero ¿es Nueva York todavía musicalmente relevante?
Oféndelos, deja.
Esa es la pregunta del tema de hoy. Is New York still musically relevant? Anybody can go first. What are your thoughts on it? Is it musically relevant?
No, que debería ofender a todo el mundo. Olvídate de lo que piensa la gente.
Me gusta la energía.
Is New York relevant? Musically relevant. ¿Es Nueva York relevante en general?
Bueno, vamos a tirar por la música.
La cosa es relevante, es un término como que all encompassing. It doesn't necessarily have to be, for our conversation, relevant can mean anything, but I don't think it controls things like it used to. Maybe
certain markets.
It controls, in my opinion, it controls the creative direction the music takes, but
Pero no controla el mercado de la música.
And not the aesthetic.
So yo no creo que es relevante. Musically
okay,
relevant.
But I don't think the music industry controls music anymore.
Who controls music?
What do you mean?
I mean, like,
when you mean the music industry, do you mean like labels?
I mean, yeah. I mean,
set aside from like the streaming
wherever
platforms?
the record companies go, they're not necessarily controlling whoever's relevant right now.
Muchos artistas independientes que están saliendo.
Like Anderson .Paak is a tastemaker, so is Billie Eilish is a tastemaker, but Ariana Grande is not necessarily a tastemaker. She's a head. No, but I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's people that are Olivia Rodriguez. I don't know what she is. Rodrigo. Is she with a label or not? I don't know. But it's one of those things that I think she's going to be like one of those people that's going to be in front, but not necessarily someone that's going to change the game like Billie Eilish does.
Pero todos estos artistas son de Nueva York.
No.
Okay, so vamos a hacer un rewind. No. Nueva York como tal, como ciudad, musicalmente todavía tiene relevancia. Cuando yo me refiero a musicalmente, by the way, no me refiero al mainstream, porque esta es una cosa, amazing point. The music industry doesn't determine and it never did. Actually, the big labels never determined the pace of music. Yo me acuerdo que un tipo hizo un argumento de que el verdadero pace de la música en general en el mundo nunca es determinado por los artistas mainstream. Es determinado siempre por las bandas que tocan localmente en cada ciudad. O sea, lo verdaderamente innovador de la música en el mundo entero no está necesariamente siendo lanzado por los artistas súper famosos, pero cuando tú te metes a los clubes en las ciudades, ya sea en Cleveland, en Detroit o en LA, that's where the real amazing innovation in music is happening. Just because everybody's not looking at it doesn't mean it's not happening.
Yeah.
You know,
like we were saying about Mustafa and Dijon and these guys that you're not, and Sir, guys that you're not going to hear talked about in big, like what James de Fauntleroy was 10 years ago. Is those are the people that are always going to be changing the industry, and it's never the big artist.
Exactamente.
Entonces, I mean, I can even say that about you guys in one sense, right? In the way that, for example, salsa comes from here, right? And then the innovation that you guys have put into it, they're trying to copy it somewhere else, but it's not having that same. The thing about New York and how we live a very aggressive lifestyle shows in the music. When you take it somewhere else and you polish it too much, you lose that.
I mean, I think other places they concern themselves with copying something. No one in New York is necessarily concerned with copying anything. Everyone says, "This is the music I'm trying to make."
Yeah, that's a great point.
And even stuff that gets copied, so to say, or sampled, right? Like DJ Premier, for example, a guy from New York who was sampling everything. And when he was taking those jazz records and making them into hip hop, it's like he's in a way responsible. They call
Mm-hmm.
them, for the birth of hip hop in a way too.
And also the sound of New York around the 90s.
And then that
and
they
early-
tried, kind of, it was hard. It was hard to take a vinyl and sample.
You could use all the same samples DJ Premier's using, and
And
you're
you're
not
not
going to
and
sound
you're not
like
gonna get it. You're not
No.
gonna get it. One, you don't know maybe the tempo that he had the record spinning at. The
Well,
scratches
that's-
and
yeah.
everything.
Lo mismo con
But
Dela,
the whole
¿verdad?
thing, it's like what you feel, right? It's what
Mhm.
you feel, and I think the way that you guys feel and the way that the perspective of where your minds get together, it's like me being there, like during the whole creative process of it. It's like it's very different from being in a creative process of somewhere else where I feel like obviously they're more organized, and I think they have a vision already, and they have everything almost too perfect, so to say. And sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad in a way.
Hay
You
un
know?
punto tremendo que tú acabas de hacer, el cual cuando uno viaja a muchas ciudades, especialmente en la música latina, en la música tropical y en la música en general, hay como comunidades, se forma como un tribalismo en el cual todo el mundo está imitando a todo el mundo. Entonces, por ejemplo, tú vas...
Hey, ¿te gusta el contenido que estás viendo? ¿Te gustaría mantenerte al día con todo lo que está pasando? Pues te invito a que te suscribas a mi canal. Simplemente oprime la campanita para recibir notificaciones cada vez que publiquemos nuevo contenido. Ahora, de vuelta a la conversación.
En Puerto Rico ha habido muchos años de una cultura donde mucha salsa se escucha bien similar. Hay como que una dimensión, bien unidimensional. O Miami también, hay muchas cosas que se escuchan tan similares, producidas de una manera tan similar. Pero Nueva York siempre ha sido una cuna donde tú dijiste, they never concern themselves with copying everybody, because everybody in New York has a mentality of oneness, of individuality. Everybody wants to be.
But there
the
was
opposite.
there was an era, I think, in New York too, when certain bands started to sound that same way. Where remember there was like throwing baritones on, each band had a baritone player, and it sounded like, oh, you knew like that was from New York, like, but you knew that was a New York sound because nowhere else they were doing that. But that was a thing for a little bit. But then people moved
I
on
think
from
the
that.
electric bass was very like a New York sound for like a little bit. And
But then you say like the whole tribalismo, right, that happens in other cities. I remember when the Snarky Puppy boom came out. Remember everyone wanted to sound like Snarky Puppy for a while. There was a lot of that was a lot of those bands that came up, and I remember there was a band in Puerto Rico that had like that same vibe, and there was like a lot of that in LA, and then it happens, right? It happens, and everyone is like, oh, if they can do it, shit, I can do it too. But then it's a little too late in a way, because they're the ones doing it, they're the ones making it. People are still gonna like, you might pop up as a related artist, and you get your shine if you're doing something a little different or not. But everyone seems, I think, in other cities still looks at New York for what do you call it? Inspiration in a way, I would call it.
Yeah.
Because Snarky Puppy,
Pioneer.
Snarky Puppy realistically blew up from New York, right? Even though they're saying that they're not from somewhere else, but I consider it a New York based band.
Yeah.
they
You
met
know,
here.
Glasper's like from Texas,
But he blew up here.
yeah.
Like he made it sound
They
here.
met here, yeah.
And it's like it's one of those things where I think, and I think I can say the same thing about J Balvin. For example, J Balvin is currently living in New York. Why isn't he with all the reggaetoneros in Miami? Why New York? There has to be something here in
I
a
think
way.
culturally, for sure, like musically, it goes up and down, right? But culturally, there's a lot of reasons why New York is gonna stay at the forefront of at least not what's making the most money, but what's deciding what's cool. Like
Art, the fashion, todo lo demás, yeah.
the mixing of cultures too that happens here is something that like it just feels way more authentic. It feels like way more cutting edge when something happens culturally here, and especially like with things we consider new. The new stuff happens.
And I think that
here.
happens with just not even with music, like you were saying. Like I think if you were to if you wanted to eat like authentic, I don't know, food from anywhere else. Let's just pay anywhere else.
Angola.
Huh?
Angola.
Maybe, right? You would find that in New York, and then sometimes people will be like, "Oh, it tastes better in New York than it tastes like in certain other places," and you always hear that. Maybe except for tacos, you probably get best tacos in California or Texas.
there's some killing.
No,
tacos here.
there are some killing places here, but I'm saying in that sense, like there's some people that would tell you that,
They'd be like, yeah.
But like here, I think here, like the whole cultural thing and the way that we blend it. At the end of the day, it's like to me is amazing to see other cultures sometimes go to a salsa show or go to some other things because not only are they curious, but they want to have a good time and they know what it is. It's like the last post, I think I shared it with you guys. It was the guy who played Aquaman. He has like a huge interest in collecting vinyl, but then he also has a taste for salsa. He wanted to have first edition Willie
Jason
Colon.
Momoa?
Yeah, he wanted to have first edition Willie Colon records, you know, and that's like his thing. And he knows the music and he knows the culture.
So wait, we're all here kissing New York's ass, right? Because we're all in New York. But why are we even having this conversation? What's the other side of that coin?
Yo iba a decir exactamente lo mismo, que yo me siento como que Nueva York se ha vuelto tanto un lugar tan corporativo, donde más bancos están creciendo, donde más business está creciendo, pero los más venues de música están cerrando. O sea, ya no se toca. No existe una comunidad como lo que era el Cheetah o el Palladium o el Corso o un montón de venues que habían en Nueva York, donde se tocaba un montón de música en vivo y tú podías ir a la escena local y escuchar música. Porque una perspectiva es from the recording standpoint. From the recording standpoint, anybody can record a record in their living room. But I'm talking about music that also is sounds and silence, meaning the combination of real instruments and whatever else it is in a live setting with a live audience, which is where a lot of the magic happens, such as, i.e., The Lesson. Right, The Lesson was an incredible place to see innovative sounds being, or, you know, when
you knew you were going to see something
special.
O, bueno, imagínate me imagino en aquellos tiempos yo estaba hablando con Dandy acerca de esa escena, la escena donde él creció en los 70 y eso, y en los 60, el estar en Nueva York y como percusionista salir a ver un club y de repente en una noche tú ves todos estos caballos, it elevates the standard.
8 guisos en una semana.
Right, and to see.
No, you go see Village Gate, Ray Barretto's playing on stage, and Tito Puente's in the audience, and Patatos and Willie Bobo walks in.
So, había un estandarte en Nueva York donde era difícil de imitar.
That still happens to a certain extent.
Hola familia, si quieres ver el resto de este video, te invito a que te unas a la ganga de Patreon. Allá vas a poder tener acceso a cambio de tu suscripción de tan solo $5 al mes de contenido online exclusivo, llamadas por Zoom, descuentos para mercancía, quizás hasta VIP y backstage passes para el soundcheck y hablar con los músicos después de nuestros shows en vivo, entre muchísimas otras cosas. Así que muchas veces nosotros nos suscribimos a cosas que ni siquiera usamos, a gimnasios que no vamos. ¿No sería mucho mejor suscribirte y apoyar la música de un artista que sigues y que amas? Bueno, una vez más y de adelanto, te doy las gracias por ver este video en YouTube y por unirte a nuestra familia de Patreon. Nos vemos por allá.